Well. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And I know the Bucs gave a lot of people a awesome Christmas Eve present as they dismantle the Jacksonville Jaguars on Christmas Eve at Raymond James Stadium by the score of 30-12. The game wasn't even that close, to be honest with you. So hopefully everybody had a wonderful Christmas, Hanukkah, Festivus, whatever holiday season you like to celebrate with your family. I know the Bucs gave a lot of us a very happy Christmas Eve present under the tree as they go to 8-7, sole possession of first place in the NFC South, and an opportunity to clinch a division title this Sunday, Raymond James Stadium. Welcome into the No Quarter Given podcast. I'm your host, Jason, along with Peter Blake. How you doing, Peter?
Doing great, man. I got exactly what I wanted for Christmas. I got the Bucs to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in dominating fashion, which, by the way, I missed it by a little bit. It was 30-21. That was my prediction. It ended up being 30-12. So I was definitely happy, and you'll be happy also to know that in the press box, I got a chance to eat my 4 plates for the day.
Did they give you any kind of were there any Christmas cookies, any of that kind of good stuff in the press box?
There was. They actually gave everybody, every media member there in the press box, some chocolate pretzels and some pretzels in general and some Reese's Pieces. I was kind of disappointed by the chocolate pretzels because they really weren't chocolate pretzels. They were like, I don't know. They weren't chocolatey enough. But like I need any more sugar than that, right?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
don't. You already got enough sugar, and you're already wired up enough. But yeah,
exactly. I should have got out there earlier, but before that I did a pregame at the What the Buck tailgate, and can you believe that I didn't even get a chance to go in there and eat? I just set up and talked to like 10 fans, and then by the time the clock struck 3:50, I was like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta get in the press box now. I didn't get a chance to eat. There was so much like flavors and just ribs there, smelled good. I was like, all right, I'll just make up for it when I get in the press box, and I did.
well, the Bucs celebrate Christmas again with a 30-12 win over the Jaguars. The most impressive all around performance of the year by both sides of the ball. The kicking game, just a dominant effort. The game was never in doubt. Once the game got to 10-0, it was over, and you could tell very quickly in that game that the Bucs were playing on all cylinders, both offensively and as impressively on the defensive side of the ball, shutting down Trevor Lawrence. Ultimately, Trevor Lawrence did not finish this football game. He ended up exiting the game with a right shoulder injury, which leaves his playing ability in doubt this week. But let's talk Bucs, because this is what this is all about. This is where we need to be. Also, remember, folks, no montage this week because we've already played the Saints. So if you want to listen to Paul Stewart's montage, go back to week 3 of our No Quarter Given podcast, or you can go to Buck Power TV on YouTube, and you can find the montage with Paul and the New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, Peter Blake, give me just a general thought of the game. You were in the building. Just what did you think of the dominant effort there by the Buccaneers?
Well, not only I think the tone was set by the defensive play because he calls for 4 turnovers for the whole day, 2 interceptions by Lawrence, of course, and there were questions if he was even going to play in the game. But also he calls 2 fumbles. And then furthermore, I think the defensive effort, the defensive captain, Devin White, came to play. It seemed like, there was some fire lit under him after, maybe benching him, some come to Jesus meeting there from Todd Bowles and the organization. He played like we've been expecting him to play. And Baker Mayfield continues to play some really good football, be accurate, make some, crisp throws, make some great decisions, not turning over the ball. I felt like, again, this was probably their best game they played all year long, and it was because of offense, defense, and special teams coming together once again.
Let's talk a little Devin White. Obviously, there was a lot of speculation during the week. Was KJ Britt going to continue to start? He played well in filling in for Devin. Was Devin fully healthy? We never really knew the scope of that. Give Devin White credit. He played really well. He started the game, and from all indications, From what I saw on TV, it looks like he played most of the snaps in that game. It wasn't a rotational situation. I think Devin played. He had the big first quarter interception that he looked really good on. He forced he had another. He was involved in a sack fumble later in the game. So give Devin White credit. He didn't pout. He went out there and he performed. We need him to do it more consistently and week after week. We get it, but give Devin White credit. He came out and he performed really well.
Yeah, and it started with the turnover there. You get that big interception, and then basically you give your offense a short field and give them, some momentum to take away. And that's exactly what you expect out of a middle linebacker. And you haven't seen a lot of that when it comes to coverage, and then and plays in general. And then you get back to what makes White so dangerous. It's not the coverage skills. It's not necessarily the tackling. It's the fact that you use him on the blitz. You use his athleticism. And he's able to get there and cause, turnover and cause some havoc. And it was encouraging to see. And hopefully you can continue to see that because, a Devin White that's doing that is a lot better than what you saw for the majority of the year.
All right, let's go over some stats of the game. Baker Mayfield threw for 283 and 2 touchdowns, an impressive 10 for 19 on third down, which is just as impressive. You had the other star of the game offensively was Mike Evans, 7 catches, 86 yards, 2 scores. Mike Evans is now the active leader in the NFL in career touchdowns with 94, past Devontae Adams, and he's also leading the league this year in touchdown receptions with 13.
Yeah, just get the golden jacket ready for that man because he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. There's no doubt he's playing at a top level. 30 years old, still playing at top level. And for me, after this game and the whole season he's had, and the season isn't even over yet, you're going to have to find a way to sign this guy, and you're going to have to sign him because you don't want him to go to another team. And then furthermore, Baker Mayfield, third down this year has been his money down, and that's the big-time key for this Bucs offense. When they need a third down conversion, he's able to scramble. He's able to make critical throws there. Look at the touchdown pass to Mike Evans. That's tremendous. Putting in that little window. There's only one person that's going to be able to catch that ball, and that's Mike Evans. That's great. And then, doing his best Mike Alstott impression, putting his shoulder pad down. I know that Todd Bowles and that coaching staff doesn't want him to do that. That's the kind of moxie that he's showing. That's the kind of grit and effort. Gritty, not pretty. Somebody said that on my show. I think that's what Baker Mayfield and this offense has been lately. Gritty, not necessarily pretty, but it's pretty to see Baker Mayfield complete all those passes when it comes to third down.
Mayfield with about 3,500 yards on the season, 26 touchdowns, 8 picks, which is very good. Some other couple stats from the game. Huh?
MVP, because I was talking to Sal.
Easy, big fella. Listen. Big fella.
I was on the JP Peterson show today, and I was talking to Sal Palantonio, who's been in the business for a long time, and I said, look, if Lamar Jackson is being compared or being touted as being an MVP of the league, you look at Jackson's numbers: 19 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I get it. Baltimore is the top team in the league with throttling the 49ers. You look at Baker's numbers: 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, nearly the same passing yards, and then furthermore, he's in a new offense. He's following Tom Brady, and even Sal Pal said that there should be a conversation about Baker Mayfield being in the MVP conversation.
Here's what I would say. Comeback player of the year for sure, conversation. Sure. No doubt with what he went through last year and his kind of the journey he took last year going from team to team to team. He's definitely a comeback player of the year conversation, probably him and probably DeMar Hamlin. You have to say it, even though DeMar hasn't played much just from what he came back from. He probably will get that award just for playing. But right. Baker Mayfield will probably be number 2 on that list, to be honest with you. I can't go as good a year as Baker's had. He's had 3 or 4 other games that have been not very good. And I'm not a ton of picks, I get it, but the completion percentage and the efficiency of the offense, but he's had a good year. Not going to say he ain't nowhere near the top of the MVP list. He might be in the bottom 10 of an MVP list. If you made a list from 1 to 10, he's probably maybe 9 or 10 at best. But to me, he's not a top 5 MVP candidate.
Well, he's better than Patrick Mahomes this year.
I'm not going to dispute that. I'm not. No, I agree. He's playing really well. I want him to keep playing well.
Right, and if he continues to play the way he's played, and the Bucs, run the table and they win this division and they go 10-7, which by the way, I said 10-7 at the beginning of the year. Just saying. Yeah, I think you definitely have to you definitely have to consider it and what he's meant to this team overall. I get it; they have Evans, they have Godwin, but if you don't have a quarterback that's steering that ship, and they've had their struggles, I get that, and there's a lot of fans out there that
Yep.
still hate Baker Mayfield.
I don't think people hate him. I don't think there's hate for Baker.
Oh, there's hate. There's
Well,
definitely hate on
well, here's
Baker.
what they want. Here's what I think the objective fan wants to see. If you're being objective, and I know he's had a great 3 weeks, we want to see him be able to do this for 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
That's all. That's my only beef with Baker. I want to see him be able to consistent, and they're doing it. I'll give him. He's 3 weeks into a great stretch. Can he keep doing it when the stakes really get up there? Because this Sunday is going to be a great, and we're going to get to the preview in a little bit. When the pressure's really, really on, money game, and this is a win the division and you get a home game situation, I want to see Baker keep doing it.
Well, to that point, you had a money game against Carolina. You got to win that. That's a must-win game. I get it's Carolina, but you still got to win it. At Atlanta, you have a must-win situation because you could be out of it. Yep. And I think that's where the offense turned the last couple drives, especially.
But he didn't play great in the Atlanta game, if we're being fair. He had a great drive at the end.
Right.
But he didn't play. But he didn't play great in the game.
That's the point, though. He was able to find a way to win. The team.
I got you.
Green Bay, he comes out, has a perfect game there, and then you have Jacksonville following it up. So again, I understand the point. It's just that there is so much of an idea that this quarterback class right now. I think a lot of people assumed that this team was going to be a 3 to 5 win team, maybe at the most 6. That you could get a quarterback. And now it's like, well, you can't get a quarterback, so let's go with Kyle Trask. Well, you're in the playoff chase here. So there's no way you're going back to Kyle Trask.
No.
I don't think you're going to be able to draft a quarterback. And then furthermore,
but you also have to admit, you and I had the conversation. If he doesn't complete that ball to Mike Evans in the Carolina game, that next day could have been a completely different swing in this franchise's history.
Maybe. You're exactly right, because I was looking at Rock Riley, and I said, maybe it's time for Kyle Trask.
A lot of people were saying that.
Right, but it turned around somehow. You turn around with the big play.
Yep.
And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, oh, my God, you look at the numbers, and it's like you compare him to top quarterbacks in the league, and he's right up there. And
he's having a good year.
Maybe the fan base has been so spoiled by Tom Brady, maybe the last year, maybe not, but the 2 years prior, they're so spoiled by that you like, wait a minute, you're missing out on a possibly really good season. And again, I know the offense, but you come to expect that this team was going to struggle to a certain degree, right? I mean, we kind of said that, and that was the disappointing thing, that the defense.
Well, they didn't have to struggle. We thought they might because of it's being new, but They didn't have to. They did because of a variety of reasons, but they did struggle.
Looking at the overall history of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, have they ever been able to develop a young quarterback that they drafted?
Yeah, the evidence is not there. I agree.
So you go with the veteran. So and
2 years, $50 million. That's what you give him.
I think
I like Baker when he's hungry, when he's playing with some desperation and without a whole lot of security. That's the Baker that I think can play the best with the swagger and the chip on his shoulder. You can't give Baker 4 years and $130 million. Sorry.
No,
can't do it.
I go with a $20 to $25 million contract, at the most 30. And
2 years.
You go from there and you see what happens. But I think it also comes down to not only the money issue, but also he's going to be very comfortable. He's very comfortable with Tampa Bay.
Yes.
Allowed him to be who he wants to be. And they've also put him in an offensive system that seems like it agrees with him. And
I agree.
If you have that stability, which is what he hasn't had, that's been disappointing. I think that's the unfair thing when looking at Baker Mayfield. Well, he's gone from Cleveland to Carolina to here to there. That's the problem. And I got into an argument with my co-host tonight. He's like, well, he's going to want Daniel Jones money, or he's not going to stay here. He'll go somewhere else. Why? If you're Baker Mayfield, why would you go somewhere else that you feel comfortable with? Well, it can't be about – no, it has to be about that. Because the legacy of his career depends on it. And if he it doesn't make any sense for him to take, big time money deal. I mean, I guess from the money financial standpoint, but to learn a new system all over again, that doesn't make
Right?
any sense to me.
I agree. I agree. All right, a couple other stats from the game. The Bucs defense, 4 sacks, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries. Time of possession in the game, 37-22 in minutes. And we also got to give a little love to the special teams. Chase McLaughlin, another 3-for-3 performance, 51-yard field goal, long of 51. McLaughlin's 26 of 28 on the year, having a tremendous year. Will definitely be the Pro Bowl alternate, I think, behind Aubrey from Dallas, who hasn't missed a kick all year. So a great find there by Jason Light in that personnel department. But again, Bucs defense played really inspired. Again, Yaya Diaby with a big day. He had the triple header: sack, forced fumble, and forced recovery. He had 2 sacks on the day. He had Levante David. Just a very good performance. You lose Carlton Davis early in that game to a concussion. The moment the play happened, you could see the replay. You knew he had a concussion. He got his head jarred on a tackle. We don't know what his status is, obviously, for the New Orleans game. But again, Jamel Dean was back, Vita Vea back, Devin White back. You're getting healthy on defense. And to me, that's the part of this team that I'm feeling good about the offense. If the defense can stay healthy and continue to play better and better like they are, that's where I think the Buccaneers can make a move and come playoff time.
And I'm so impressed with the young guys and Yaya Diaby and, of course, Kalijah Cansey. And not just for this year, but for the next couple of years, because those are your building blocks, and they're already playing well in the limited amount of time, especially Yaya Diaby. They're talking about him on NFL Network being defensive, player of the year. You know who could also be defensive player of the year? Kalijah Cansey.
I mean, defensive rookie of the year.
Yes, defensive rookie of the year. I was actually thinking about Antoine Winfield Jr., who could be defensive player of the year. I mean, that's the kind of notoriety that this Bucs defense is getting. So, yeah, rookie defensive player of the year for Yaya Diaby or Kalijah Cansey, and, of course, defensive player of the year and an Antoine Winfield Jr. So, it's
speaking of Antoine Winfield Jr., I'm going to give a stat that I saw by our guy Luke Easterling from Athlon Sports, who covers the Bucs. Here, how about this resume for defensive player of the year for Antoine Winfield this year? 110 tackles, 12 pass breakups, 5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries as a free safety.
And a partridge in a pear tree. Yes.
Yeah.
What has he not done? What has he not done at this point to gain it? And somebody was saying Kyle Hamilton of the Raiders.
And he's got 3 picks, I believe, too. 3 picks, too, I believe.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, that's the guy who I would say is definitely in the top 5 of Defensive Player of the Year candidacy. I mean, he may get a little overshadowed because we're in Tampa. We're only 8-7. But if you really look at the numbers, and again, Luke Easterling did a great job breaking this down, his stats, his all-around stats, are tremendous and definitely worthy of consideration.
Absolutely.
All right. Give me a last glaring comment from this game. I mean, just your thought. I mean, this game was 27-0 at one point. They got a couple garbage touchdowns late in the game. Who cares? Doesn't matter. This is the kind of performance that can propel you. Again, 4-game winning streak. You got 2 more games. This is the kind of overall team performance. And if you saw the Buccaneer locker room post-game with Todd Bowles, you could tell he knows they're coming. And again, Todd Bowles, give him all the credit here. He is an all, I won't say guaranteed to save his job, but very highly likely that unless something catastrophic happens these last 2 weeks, Todd Bowles will be back as the head coach next year.
Completely agree with that. And, with the Bucs and their backs against the wall, they've definitely performed up to snuff. I mean, who would have thought, a team that was 4-7 just a month and a half ago would be at this point at 8-7, getting ready to win the NFC South. But that was the expectation coming into the year, that you would win the NFC South. I think Chris Godwin, being another focal point of this offense, 6 catches, 78 yards, had 100 yards versus the Saints. And the first game where the Bucs won 26-9, pretty handily. I think that has been the big-time key also. With Godwin more involved in this offense, it's opened up those things and opened up, more plays in that offensive playbook for Mike Evans and, of course, Rashad White.
And just sporadic contributions around the roster. Payne Durham, a very nice over-the-shoulder catch He doesn't play a ton, but he's got good hands. He's if you watched him at Purdue, he's a ball catcher, and he's made a couple of really nice catches the last 3 or 4 weeks on these little wheel routes. But again, it made a nice, very nice over the shoulder catch, almost scored Sunday. You're getting contributions from Chase Edmonds doing some sporadic work in the backfield. Again, Rashad White's, and let's give this offensive line credit. Much maligned early in the year. We weren't sure. Hainsey, Gedeke, Stinney got inserted there. This offensive line is coming together, especially in the pass blocking, giving Baker lots of time to throw the ball and just gradually getting better in the run game.
Yeah, I think 127 yards by White to get to that 1,000 rushing mark. So that's.
And I think Chris Godwin's like 108 yards away from 1,000 with 2 games to go. So I'd be curious to know when the last time the Bucs had 2 receivers and a running back all eclipse 1,000 yards. You know where you can go find that?
Yep, at buckpower.com. Every player, every stat, everything you want if you're a Bucs fan.
Buck Power's the place to go, guys. Any stat you're looking for, and well, maybe I'm sure Paul Stewart will be listening to this. Maybe he'll send us a nugget of when the last time 2 receivers and a running back. It might have been in the Brady era. I can't remember. Did Fournette ever get over 1,000 yards with Brady?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I do not believe he had 1,000. Maybe he did. I don't remember him having 1,000 yards.
So yeah, go to buckpower.com though. You can research that information. Yeah. All right, Bucs moved to 8-7 again, 30-12 win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with our preview of the New Orleans Saints, a division title on the line, Raymond James Stadium. We'll be back in just a minute. All right, back on the No Quarter Given podcast. I'm Jason along with Peter. Hope everybody had a happy Christmas hopefully you got to spend some time with family. No Scrooges, I hope. No Scrooges in the Peter Blake household, I hope, right?
No, not at all. I saw my sister. I barely saw family because I was working so much, and then they were with the other family there, so it was kind of quiet. I kind of needed that after all the talking, all the shows. I just sat on my ass and watch football all day.
And I have to apologize, Peter. I saw TJ Saturday. TJ and I and a buddy of ours, Vince Farrar, was in town. We all had breakfast Saturday morning before the Bucs game on Sunday, and I forgot your gift. I walked out of my house with your gift that I was going to give to TJ for him to give to you at the Bucs game on Sunday. So I apologize. I still have your gift that Paul Stewart gave me to give to you from the visit. We will get that to you as we approach, whether it's this last home game, maybe before the playoff game. Promise you your gift's coming. Peter Blake, what has Peter Blake got in store? We got obviously the Bucs game on Sunday, and I know you're going to be running the streets of Tampa come New Year's Eve, baby. What's Peter Blake's New Year's Eve look like?
Well, the New Year's Eve looks like we'll be covering the ReliaQuest Bowl on Friday for the coaches' press conference.
Okay.
And then New Year's Eve, it's going to be – I'm not going to be doing much because I have to get up the next day and cover the ReliaQuest Bowl. I have to actually be up early for that. I got to do, a couple stand-ups for the guys there, Amped Up Sports with Leo Haggerty and, of course, Ray Kennedy of the Sports Web. And then
I'll be there too, baby. I'll be there.
Well, there you go.
Me and you need to meet in the press box. I'm sure it's a 12 o'clock kick, so there'll be some lunch there for you about 11 o'clock. Yeah, make sure you roll in. Don't make sure you comb your hair, brush your teeth.
Yeah, I'm not going to be out the night before. I've watched the ball go down, and I'll probably go to bed. And then after that, I actually have to go out to the patio with the J.P. Peterson show because the games are on that day from 3 to 5. So it will be a busy day. I'll probably cancel the Sports Web that night because I'll be just completely tired, but not much of anything.
College football playoff starts at 5 o'clock on Monday with the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
You're going to have a full night of I may stop by. I might stop by the patio post game.
You should absolutely do that. And we'll see how it goes with LSU. Of course, Wisconsin, kind of little bit damper.
A blase game. Not a very, we'll see how it goes. You're
Not
right.
going to see Jaden Daniels, but it'll be fun. It's always fun, a fun experience at Raymond James Stadium, especially for a bowl game in January. So you gotta love it.
And give the credit to the personnel at Raymond James. They're gonna have to flip that stadium quick from a Sunday afternoon to an early Monday kick from the Bucs game to the bowl game with cleaning the facility and staffing it and changing the end zones and all that stuff. So give kudos to those people that are doing all that hard work in the concession area and all the field maintenance and all that stuff to get the stadium ready to go both Sunday and Monday.
And of course, we're going to be there for the post game show, so we'll try to get an hour in there because they kind of try to hurry us off there by doing the lawn work and having the blower in the background, which is too loud. And thank God for headphones and stuff like that. So we'll try to get as many calls. If not, you know what? I may just go a little bit later live. I don't know, but we'll have a post game show in collaboration with the JP Peterson Show on the field. Live after Bucs versus the Saints, most likely a winning NFC South edition.
Let's give a shout out to JP Peterson. Just got engaged. Just got engaged over the weekend.
Oh,
to his lady friend. I mean, now it's going to be JP is getting ready to walk like the nature boy. He's going to walk that aisle. Woo!
Style profile. He had her on today. She was handicapping. We had her. We had, of course, JP, Scott Reynolds, and they were saying, you got to go find a wife now, Pete. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of like finding a quarterback for the Bucs. It's not growing on trees, my friends. Very difficult.
Peter can find him. Can he develop him? Can he develop the girlfriend into a fiance? It's about player development, baby.
It's like a girlfriend graveyard when it comes to my personal life. So, I'll be lucky to find a girlfriend, let alone a wife. So congratulations to JP. She's definitely a keeper. And, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Scott and everybody else. But all
right, let's get to the New Orleans Saints. An opportunity to sweep the Saints, clinch the division title, clinch a home playoff game, most likely against the Dallas Cowboys. Bucs beat New Orleans and back in week 3, 26-9 in New Orleans. Again, that was the first game that we really saw a little bit of spark on offense. Defense played really well against Derek Carr and company. The Bucs have now scored 3 straight games of 29 plus or more point wise for the offense. The Saints come in 7-8. The Falcons come in 7-8. So again, it's a chance to put this division away. Give me a quick thought on the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you look at Derek Carr. Last week he had 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, but that offense has largely struggled. I like the Bucs' chances in this game, and I don't think their defense is that great. Being the Saints, you're without Lattimore. I look for Evans to have a big game, and you're also without Mike Thomas, who's been out for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
There's been no impact at all. So I like the Bucs' chances, especially with the Saints and that defense giving up, Matt Stafford 328 yards. So this team can be thrown on, and Baker and this offense were successful in the first matchup. I expect them to be that much or more successful versus the Saints.
And remember, the Saints come off the loss last Thursday night in Los Angeles. They've had a little extra rest, a couple of extra days to get ready for this. Obviously, this is a gotta-have-it game. I think from the playoff prognostication I saw, the Bucs win one of their last 2, they win the division. I mean, obviously you don't want to rely on the last game at Carolina because you never know, but you want to wrap it up here at home. But again, the Bucs are in a great spot. Even if they were to lose this game, they could potentially still win the division next week at Carolina and/or get a wild card spot in the NFC. Again, if you're the Buccaneers here, don't let Derek Carr and don't let Alvin Kamara kill you. Olave's playing well, but again, Kamara and Olave to me are the 2 guys that are their bread and butter on offense, and defensively block the front 4. I mean, the offensive line, don't let the Cam Jordan, don't let Cam Jordan and company, wreck the game. He's always been a buck killer kind of. You know what you're doing on offense. You've got an identity. You're running the ball well. Keep doing what you're doing. What I like about what the Bucs are doing lately, they're throwing the ball to their money players. Godwin, Evans, Rachaad White. They're leaning on their stars to be the stars, and they're coming through.
Exactly. And you talk about Olave, only 4 yards of receiving last matchup. So, we'll see what Carlton Davis hopefully come out of concussion protocol. If not, players are going to have to step up. But you're exactly right. And Evans went out early in the first matchup, and they still won 26-9. I think he's due for a big game, especially with, once again, Lattimore looking like he's not going to play in this game.
And again, you're back playing on grass. I think it's the first time in 5 weeks the Saints have played outdoors, which means they've first time in about 5 or 6 weeks they played on grass. So, and the Bucs have always had some success against New Orleans. We've had some clunkers, but we've also had some big wins against New Orleans at home late in the year. But again, it's time to wrap this division up, Peter Blake. Let's hang up another division banner. Let's because if you win this game, guys, you have next week. You can rest anybody that's nicked up. You can rest them. You don't have to play Kyle Trask. You don't have to play Baker Mayfield much if you don't want to. You can give Evans and Godwin and your money players a week off, basically leading into the wild card game. You can get some more of these reserves, Kyle Trask and company, some more reps. So that's why this week is important, that you have the opportunity, if you want to, next week to rest some guys.
Very true.
All right, Peter Blake, give me a prediction. What do you think?
I'm going to go 31-13 Tampa Bay over the Saints.
Blowout city, huh?
Yeah, I do. They got the confidence right now. The Saints, they need it, but I don't think they don't match up that well. I don't think it's. And even Sal Powell said today that the Saints are very overrated. Vegas has taken them all year long, and against the spread, they're terrible against the spread. The Bucs are really good. They're actually the best team in the NFL.
Against the number, huh? Really?
Yeah.
Well, I cashed my ticket with Bucs over 6 wins. I made that play early before the season started. So I cashed that ticket.
I would have made a play like that because I would have won too.
All right, I'm going to go 28-17. 28-17. Bucs win the division. 1:00 game, Raymond James Stadium, Buck fans. Get there early. Tell me, what was the crowd? Were there a lot of Jags in the building last week?
No, it's a lot of Bucs fans. There wasn't. There were some fans that said Duval on the
Duval.
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of Jags fans. There was a lot of Bucs fans there.
This is a game, Buck fans. We need you in the building. Again, not a lot of opportunities to clinch a division at home over our history. This is a big rivalry game in our division here. This is probably our biggest division rival, to be honest with you. The Saints, that are the Falcons. But again, the Saints, with all the history we've had with both teams winning the division so many times. Remember the Bucs. This could be the third year in a row the Bucs win the division. Again, give Todd Bowles and that staff credit. He's hung in there, kept his team together, and they've gotten a little bit better each throughout the year. They had their lull where they lost 6 out of 7, but what a job by this Buccaneer team, winning 4 in a row. Got a chance to win 6 in a row to end the regular season. A most likely playoff game with the Cowboys is what it looks like is going to happen, but you got to finish the deal. You can't be complacent, like Baker said in the postgame. Keep the focus. You got to keep the pedal to the metal, man.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you got to do, and you continue with that momentum, and you become the most dangerous team in the postseason.
They are sneaking up on some people. The Bucs are laying in the weeds here. Nobody's talking about them. Let me tell you something. If they play like they played Sunday, they can beat either Philadelphia or Dallas, no doubt about it, in that wild card game.
Yep.
Okay, Peter Blake, tell everybody where they can find all you and your great work and all the different platforms.
Absolutely. The Sports Web, of course, on Facebook. Friend me at Peter H. Blake, or YouTube, the Sports Web. Like and subscribe. And, of course, tune into the JP Peterson Show every day from 10 a.m. to noon. I'll be on there on Wednesdays. Of course, Uncle TJ Reeves with his great stories. He'll be on there, I believe, tomorrow. So tune into all that and, do 3 things. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense.
All right, Powers on Sports podcast. You can obviously, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to this podcast, No Quarter Given. Subscribe to the Powers on Sports podcast. You can go to my YouTube channel. You can see all these interviews, all of our back and forth banter with Peter and I at Jason Powers Sports channel on YouTube. All the interviews. You can find all the video interviews from all the other podcasts there as well. Again, appreciate you finding us, Buck fans. We'll be back here next week, hopefully with a division title, hopefully a 5th win in a row, and we'll bring in 2024 on a 5-game winning streak and a playoff berth in hand. So for Jason, For Peter, I'm Jason. Appreciate you finding us, and we will see you next week on the No Quarter Given podcast.
Go Bucs!